For years they were competing on the big screen, trying to one-up each other with performances, leading to one of the most intense and legendary rivalries in modern cinema between two real Hollywood action icons. From movies such as Predator, Terminator, Rocky and Rambo to off-screen plotting and shows of wealth in order to outdo each other, these two were at it for years. And you know what? It was really fun to see and to look back on. Today we are going to wind the clocks back and look at the watches worn by Arnold Schwarzenegger and Sylvester Stallone, Hollywood's most intense rivalry. Welcome back to the Watch Gecko channel, all of you watch heroes and nerds. As always, I am Chris and you are watching me ramble my way through another head-to-head list. Today we have a battle royale between two icons of Hollywood. In the red corner we have Governor Arnold Schwarzenegger, and in the blue corner we have the Italian stallion Sylvester Stallone. And today we are going to be looking at some pretty impressive watches worn by the two actors, and I'll give you my honest opinion on who I think wore it best. As always, we'll be taking a look at both watches worn on and off screen to get an idea of these dudes and what they are packing. And I'll be looking out for the originality and the important cool factor before I give you my honest thoughts on whose collection I prefer. But before we begin, if you have an itch to scratch for that latest watch purchase, strap or accessory, head on down to the Watch Gecko website. We may even give you a discount for stopping by if you are a first-time buyer. Link in the description or use the QR code on screen to grab yourself a bargain. Okay, let's get started, shall we? Let's start off with Arnold. He is an interesting guy. Do you know he won Mr. Olympia 7 times from 1970 through to 1980? He also won about a dozen titles of various competitions from Mr. International to Mr. Universe. Alongside being governor of California for 2 terms, he's led a pretty interesting life off the cameras too. So let's start there, shall we? So as you can imagine, Arnie likes himself a big watch. So to kick off this list, we are going to start off with this, the Zenith Pilot Montre Type 20. A really nice pilot's watch, but a brand I do really like. This model is huge. That's what she said. Look, I need to get all of these innuendos out of my system because the level of watch sizes are, well, huge here. Oh, matron. Okay, let's carry on, shall we? This one comes in at a whopping 57.5mm in diameter. I told you he likes them large. Oh, it's a really rare piece too. Only 250 pieces were ever made. So at retail, you should be able to find this watch at around £9,500. Next up, we have a watch that got our Arnie into a wee bit of trouble with the German authorities. At Munich airport, Schwarzenegger was stopped for not declaring this, the Audemars Piguet Royal Oak Offshore 264700OR. He was interrogated for around 3 hours before being asked to pay $26,000 in the watch's value, $4,000 in taxes and a $5,000 fine. This one comes in a solid rose gold, has black subdials and a date window, which is the classic integrated look from AP. Lovely watch, but naughty boy. So next up is the first Rolex on this list. Well, actually for Arnie, there's only 2, this one and then the next one. Right, here is the Rolex Concorde GMT-Master 1675 in solid 18 karat gold with a brown dial and bezel along with the smaller tritium nipple dials. This is an extremely rare watch with a Jubilee bracelet and distinct looks. It is also called the Concorde due to its appearance in the Rolex advertisements for Concorde pilots in the 1960s. I think this one goes around 45 to 50 grand on a good day. So it costs a little more than the next one. So what is the next one? Well, it's another Rolex, and as you may have guessed, it's actually another GMT-Master, and it's also in gold with a Jubilee bracelet. This one is from the 1980s, so a little more modern, although not by much, to the previous entry. This one is the 16758, and the only real difference between this one and the previous one is the black dial and bezel in replacement of the brown and non-nipple dial, which you would actually recognize this dial with the more modern lume markers. So this one does come in at around 25 grand. So let's take a break from the more expensive pieces and have a look at something a little more affordable in this, the Laco Original 8 61753, a very German pilot's watch, which, when looking at this list, seems to be a type of watch that Schwarzenegger appears to be a fan of. This one is again on the bigger side at 45mm in diameter, has a Sellita SW200, a reliable movement with 40 hours of power reserve. It also has a perfectly reasonable 50 meters of water resistance. We're a big fan of the Laco watch company here, and if you would like a deep dive on them, then let us know in the comments below. Expect to pay around £1,020 for this one, so very reasonable in comparison to the next one. This is the first of many Panerais on this list. Big watches for big guys, I suppose. This is the Panerai Radiomir PAM 00341. It's a special edition Egyptian, a now discontinued model, which of course was originally designed for the Egyptian Navy. This one was designed in the 1950s and boasts a quite frankly outrageous 60mm in diameter, an all titanium case with 100 meters of water resistance. And with only 500 pieces ever made, this watch will go for around £25,000. Oh my stars, look, it's another special edition limited watch, and this time only to 1,500 pieces ever made. So here it is, it's another Audemars Piguet Royal Oak. Again. This time it's the Offshore, the Arnold Schwarzenegger legacy, the 26378IO. Yeah, when a watch has your nickname in your honour, I'm pretty sure you've made it, don't you? This chronograph has a ceramic titanium construction with rose gold buttons and even a stopwatch function. Even the strap is over the top and quite frankly awesome, made of aramid fibre, which is strong and also heat resistant. If you can find one like this, I would say it would go for around £30,000 all day long. Wow, this is another big one. I mean, this time it is a 65mm in diameter. That is bloody big, ain't it? So this is the U-boat, the U1942, another titanium constructed tool watch, which packs a whopping price tag of around £35,000 to £38,000. This one does look pretty nice, but wow, 65mm is way too big for your boy here. Right, so the last of the off-screen watches here, and my good God, it's a hat trick here for size, price, and complications. It's the entirely unnecessary Jacob & Co. Napoleon Quadra Tourbillon. This is a 55mm diameter watch, which has 18 karat rose gold construction. It features 4 tourbillons, can track 4 time zones, and comes in at a whopping £600,000. It was limited to just 18 pieces worldwide, so it is rare, massive, pricey, and very complicated. Definitely sounds like Arnold here. Okay, so those are the off-screen offerings. Let's dive straight into the film watches, shall we? Right, so let's start off with arguably the most famous watch worn by Arnold in the Predator and Commando films. It is of course the Seiko Solar Diver reference H558-5009, a 47.8mm hockey puck of a watch. It is water resistant unto a depth of 150 meters, has a temperature tested to withstand -40 to +60 degrees Celsius, and was re-released by Seiko as the SNJ025 in 2019, and is again an Ani Digi watch, solar powered, and is water resistant. A bit of a legendary watch here, and it can be all yours for £400 to £450. Finally, we are going to cross franchises here with Sly Stallone, with Arnie's turn in the action hero ensemble film Expendables 2. Now, I have a confession to make. I've never actually seen any of the Expendables films, like, at all. So it's a bit embarrassing, I guess. But I do know that Arnie's character wears this during the film. The Bell & Ross BR01-92. This one is powered by the ETA 2891-2, has 100 meters of water resistance and comes in PVD black. Decent bit of action hero kit this, and it can be yours for around £5,000, methinks. This one is pretty awesome, and it's a large size collection from the Terminator. I'm a big fan of Seiko Arnie's. I love the Panerais, the APs, and of course I do quite like the older Rolexes, although pure gold on a sports watch isn't 100% for me, but I do love the older shapes versus the newer ones, as you well know. So next up, we have the Italian stallion Sylvester Stallone. With a film career spanning over 50 years, Sly, with over $7.5 billion gross worldwide, isn't just a critically acclaimed actor known for his roles in Rocky and Rambo, but did you know that alongside Harrison Ford, he is one of only 2 actors in history to have a #1 film across 6 consecutive decades? And that's, of course, in addition to being a writer, director, and producer. So first up, let's look at a pair of watches that I spoke about in a previous video on movie hero watches. It's the Rolex GMT-Master and Day Date, both in yellow gold. They are lovely vintage watches, maybe a bit too shiny for me, but I do like the looks of a vintage roller, as you guys well know. The Day Date has a classic champagne dial and is an absolutely gorgeous watch, with what I'm a particular fan of is the layout, the Day Date, the day at the 12 and the date at the 3. The GMT-Master is on a Jubilee bracelet and has a dark black dial with a black bezel insert. Maybe a little too blingy for a sports watch for me alone personally, but hey ho, it's still pretty good. Next up, we have the Chronosport UDT Sea Quartz, an Digi watch as seen in Rambo 3 and First Blood Part 2. It's got a PVD black case with a dive watch Arabic numerals on the dial, a 4-digit digital screen and a traditional diver's bezel. The movement for the original was actually from Breitling, but there is a modern updated version on sale by Momentum Watch for just £296. I really like this watch, maybe just as much, or if not, maybe even a little bit more than the Seiko Arnie. I'm not sure. What do you guys think? Next up, we have another Expendables entry with the Panerai Luminor 1950s Regatta Rattrapante. It is a 44mm case beauty with PVD coating with a DLC bezel coating. In addition, this watch has 100 meters of water resistance, but unfortunately, I can't give you any info on prices for this one, I'm afraid. Look, only 500 pieces of this were ever made, so you can probably forgive me for this one, but if you have an idea on price, please let us know in the comments below. Okay, I'm going to go Expendables mad with another offering, this time with the second entry in the Stallone-led franchise. It is another Panerai, another Luminor, a 1950s, but this time it's a Submersible PAM00382, the Bronzo. Yet another limited edition released in 2011 on a run of just 1,000 timepieces. This one is notable for its bronze construction, which is brushed from the CUSN8 alloy. Apparently, it's just highly resistant to corrosion from seawater and, quote, atmospheric agents. Whatever that means. I'm guessing that's just oxidation though? This one is water resistant to 300 meters and, as you can imagine, is absurdly large at 47mm in case diameter. I did manage to get an idea on prices for this one, interestingly enough. It is priced at around £8,800 according to sources from Chrono24 amongst other websites. The final film I'm going to look at today from Sly before going into the personal collection is, yes, you guessed it, another Expendables, this time Expendables 3, with the Richard Mille RM032 tie. Now, say what you will about Richard Mille, but it just doesn't do it for me. But if I had to choose one to wear, then this one would be okay, I suppose. This 50mm titanium construction is designed to be over-engineered and some may say over-compensating as a dive watch. It is water resistant to 300 meters, has a flyback chronograph, and the titanium construction has a brown PVD coating. This one will cost you around $145,000. Why you would want that though is kind of beyond me. I mean, maybe I just have zero taste. I mean, look at the goatee. So now it's time for the off-screen watches, and spoiler alert, there are quite a few. Right, so let's kick off with a watch Stallone recently sold for $5.4 million at auction. So technically he doesn't own it now, but I feel it's worth mentioning here. This is the Patek Philippe reference 6300G-010 Grandmaster Chime, which sold for an eye-watering amount after a short 4-minute bidding war with a total of 5 bidders, in what was described by Sotheby's as a buzzing sales room with more than 100 attendees. It's a properly rare watch, this one, and I do like it. I've just got to find 5.4 million bucks to buy it, I suppose. Right, next on the list we have this one, the 57401G Patek Philippe Nautilus. The watch goes for around £120,000, brand new and even more second hand. This is a grand complication Nautilus with a blue sunburst dial and a day of the week, month and date indicator in addition to a cheeky moon phase too. I'm going to spoil the next few entries for you. We are going to talk about Rolex a lot. Some nicer than others, again, as you'll see. So here is one that is nice. The Rolex Oyster Perpetual, one of my favourite colourways as well, green, the 124300. Screw the Tiffany dial, this is the one for me. This one retails at around £4,500 to £5,000, but secondhand, of course, you will be paying more. The next Rolex is a legendary one and maybe in the running for one of the greatest watches of all time in my book. It's the Paul Newman Daytona, the 6241 black dial. Sly was wearing this one at the Grand Prix in 2022, and this one is very expensive, but also a must-have for any multi-millionaire racing fan. Nice watch this. I'd love to get my hands on one someday. So now from old Rolex to the newer version with the GMT-Master 2 Pepsi stainless steel version. It's a pretty cool watch, this one. Of course, I prefer the older 1675 version, but the newer ones still do look good, and I think it's one of the better of the newer shape Rolexes. This will probably go for between £10,000 to £15,000 depending on condition. The reference number for this one is 126710LN. That is, of course, if I've got the right version. I gotta be honest with you here and let you know that these next two Rolexes I really don't like. I mean, it looks like somebody has committed a frenzied bedazzling on a once beloved icon. You know what I mean? Well, here you go. First, you've got this, the Rolex Daytona Rainbow 116598RBOW in solid gold and made to look like a crime against conservatism. And then in the same vein, you have this, the Rolex Day-Date 228398TRU in a similar shade of awful. Solid gold and diamond set. Look, maybe it's just me. Maybe I just don't get it. I don't know. I'm really just not happy with what these watches are doing to my brain. The blinged up Daytona goes for around £300,000, but the Day-Date is slightly less expensive, coming in at around £210,000. Okay, we're finally free from Rolex Island, and I've sandwiched in another Patek Philippe into this list. It's the Nautilus Chronograph 59801AR-001, this time in lovely two-tone. Now, this is the right amount of flash for me. I'm a big fan of two-tone and what the Nautilus has done here with the 28520C automatic chronograph caliber, with a combined 60-minute and 12-hour counters. This is much better than any blinged up roller in my book, and it goes for between £70,000 to £100,000. The last Richard Mille on this list today is the RM25-01, and again, not a traditional shape for a Richard Mille, but very over-engineered, and to be honest, again, not really for me. I mean, I'm gonna get hate in this in the comments, but I just have to say what I feel, and that is, I don't care. It's a Luminux with extra steps. In fact, is that an insult to Luminux? I mean, I really like most of their designs, but if you like it, honestly, more power to you, buddy. This one will go for $1 million. Okay, from truly massive and over-engineered beasts of watches to the last one on today's list. A very nice little watch worn by Stallone in the noughties, the Piaget Polo Grande P10623. This one is in 18 karat yellow gold again, and coming in at 38 mil is more wearable than most of the watches on today's list. Now, just like the Patek Philippe at the beginning of this list, it was part of the batch that Sly auctioned off in 2024. But it's a sweet little thing, and I think it contrasts the collection from the big man himself. This had an estimated value of between £5,000 to £11,000 depending on condition. So there you have it, folks. Most of the watches worn by the two legends of the big screen, Arnold Schwarzenegger and Sylvester Stallone. On balance, I think it's fair to say that both of these guys have a love of big, bombastic tool watches. From Arnie's perspective, there are some obviously swings in preference towards pilot watches with some divers sprinkled in. I do like the more vintage rollers as well, but if I'm honest, I'm not the biggest fan of all yellow gold sports watches like divers or pilots. But he definitely has some legendary watches, and I really like the Seiko, the Panerai, the Laco, and the Zenith models in particular. But for me, I have to crown the best watch collection despite some pretty big missteps to Sly here. Look, I think when you've gathered all the Richard Mille models in particular, they do less than nothing for me. And that's not even getting started on the blinged out rollers as well. But the Paul Newman Daytona, the green Oyster Perpetual, the Panerais and all of the Patek Philippes are just gorgeous. And I like the UDT and Digi just as much as I like the Seiko here as well. So for me, I'm sorry Arnie, but Stallone takes the gold here. But to be honest, these guys have an endless collection of watches and I've probably only covered half of what they have. Who knows, maybe even less. But who had the best watch collection in your opinion? Let us know in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the Watch Gecko channel for more videos from the crew and I. Take care all of you watch nerds, and I will see you all in the next one.